Dun, 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 Y'all like Saw Baby? I love Saw Baby. That's my guy. I'm cute that in there. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mel, and welcome back to Mel Got Game, where I bring you top plays, top sports news, and breakdowns of the previous week. So if that interests you, please like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video where I talked about the quarterbacks that are entering their second year in the NFL. And I analyzed which ones that I thought would make the most improvements in their sophomore season. So if you haven't already, go ahead and go watch that video after you finish this one. And since you guys like that video so much, I'm gonna go ahead and do wide receivers in this video and analyze which ones I think will make the most improvements and play the best in their second seasons. And while many receivers were taken in last year's draft, there are a few that we should keep our eye on heading into this next season. Now, if I were to sit here and analyze every receiver heading into their second season, we'd probably be here all day, and God knows I do not want to edit all of that. So for the sake of this video, we're going to be focusing on the wide receivers who made some noise in their first season and contributed a significant amount for their teams overall. Now, the second year receivers we'll be analyzing today include Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashod Bateman, Devonta Smith, and Kadarius Toney. So starting with the receiver that impressed NFL fans the most in his rookie season and had defenses getting restless nights trying to figure out how to stop him, we have Jamar Chase. Drafted with the 5th overall pick out of LSU in last year's draft, Chase will go on to have a season that most rookies only dream of having, as he broke Justin Jefferson's record for most receiving yards as a rookie with 1,455 yards. He also broke 2 other records in his first year, those being most receiving yards in a game by a rookie with 266 and most postseason receiving yards by a rookie with 368. His performance in his first year helped him and Joe Burrow take the Bengals to their first Super Bowl appearance since 1988, when they lost to the 49ers in Super Bowl 23. Now, the Bengals will also have a similar result in last year's Super Bowl, as they lost to the Rams in Super Bowl 56, 23-20. Now, even though the Bengals did lose the Super Bowl, Chase seemed to be the missing piece that the Bengals have desperately needed to turn their recent luck around, as they hadn't had a winning season since their 12-4 campaign in 2015. Now, what also impressed me the most about Chase is that he was 20th in the league in receptions, but he managed to finish 4th in the league in receiving yards, which really shows off his big play and deep threat ability. In his first season, Chase established himself as one of the best receivers in the National Football League. And going into his next season, it is safe to say that if Chase is able to build upon what he produced in his rookie season, we may very well be looking at the best receiver in the league in a few years. And for this next season, I think Jamar Chase will definitely improve upon his numbers from last season. I think he'll have 90 receptions, 1,500 yards, and 15 touchdowns in his sophomore year. Now, moving into the second receiver taken in last year's draft, we have Jalen Waddle. Now, Waddle also had a very impressive rookie season, as he was the only other 1,000-yard receiver in his draft class, finishing with 1,015 yards with a record-setting 104 receptions by a rookie. He also found the end zone 6 times in his 16 games starting for the Dolphins. Overall, Waddle had a pretty solid rookie season. He did start off slow at first, but as the season progressed, he managed to figure out ways to use his speed and route running to exploit defenses to get open, making way for his first 100-yard game in Week 12 versus the Panthers, as he finished with 137 yards in a 33-10 win over Carolina. And after this performance, he was able to build on this game and establish himself as a 1,000-yard receiver in his first year. Now, Waddle is hoping to make even greater strides for himself and the Dolphins in his next season, but his number of targets could very well go down this season, as the Dolphins acquired a top 3 wide receiver in Tyreek Hill with an offseason trade. Now, even though Waddle's targets could definitely take a hit in his second season, I think he will still overall play better in comparison to his first season, as the Dolphins now have way more speed when it comes to receivers, creating more big play opportunities for Waddle. And in his next next season, I see Jalen Waddle having 90 targets, 1,150 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Now, moving into the third receiver taken in last year's draft is Devonta Smith. After winning the Heisman in college, Smith was drafted out of Alabama to the Eagles with the 10th overall pick. In his rookie season, Smith came up 84 yards short of an 1,000-yard season, as he finished his rookie season with 64 receptions, 916 yards, and 5 touchdowns. His very solid first year with the Eagles earned him the Eagles record for most receiving yards in a single season by a rookie. He also was a large contributor for the Eagles getting back to the playoffs last year as they earned a wildcard berth, but ultimately lost to the Buccaneers in the first round 31-15. Now, being so close to that 1,000-yard receiving mark that all receivers seek to achieve each season, it's obvious that making sure that he hits that 1,000-yard mark will be a focal point for him this upcoming season. But much like his former Alabama teammate Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith's targets could definitely see a decline this year, as the Eagles acquired the Titans' top wide receiver, A.J. Brown, this offseason. Now, creating this receiving duo could definitely prove beneficial for the Eagles, as they have 2 vertical threats that are very good in the red zone at going up and catching the ball over defenders. This receiving duo could also help evolve third-year quarterback Jalen Hurts into a more complete passer, which would for sure help Smith get to that 1,000-yard mark, as Hurts will be able to find Smith a lot more and a lot quicker over the course of the season. So overall, I think Devonta Smith will improve upon his rookie season, as I think he will haul in 75 receptions, put up 1,070 yards, and have 10 touchdowns. Now, moving on to our second receiver who finished in the 900-yard range, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, finishing with 90 receptions, 912 yards, and 5 touchdowns, St. Brown had a very impressive rookie season, as he established himself as the Lions' #1 receiver in 2022. St. Brown could definitely be classified as one of those diamond in the rough type players, as he was the last receiver on this list taken in the draft, when he was picked by the Lions in the 4th round with the 112th overall pick. After a slow start in his first 3 games, St. Brown had a very solid game in week 4, as he hauled in 6 catches for 70 yards. But throughout the season, St. Brown went back and forth from having a very solid performance one game to struggling to maintain any sort of rhythm the next. But in week 13, he had his first breakout performance of the year, hauling in 10 receptions for 86 yards, helping the Lions win 29-27 over the Minnesota Vikings, which also snapped the Lions' 15-game losing streak. Now, this game really set the tone for St. Brown moving forward, as he won Offensive Rookie of the Month in the month of December. And he built upon this month to close out the season with 100-yard performances in both of the last 2 games for the Lions. Now, going into his sophomore year, if St. Brown continues his consistent play from the latter part of the season into next season, he will for sure be a lock for an 1,000-yard receiver in 2021. That 1,000-yard goal will definitely not come easy for St. Brown, as he now has to share targets with former Jaguars receiver DJ Chark, who also was a 1,000-yard receiver in 2019, and first-round pick out of Alabama, Jamison Williams. However, if St. Brown continues that consistent play and starts off strong, I definitely think he will hit that goal of 1,000 yards. So for next season, I have St. Brown having 98 receptions, 1,115 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Moving on to our 5th receiver on the list, it's Elijah Moore. Moore was drafted 34th overall in the 2nd round of the draft, and he finished the season with 43 receptions, 538 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, Moore's rookie season could have been much more solid if he did not get injured later in the season in week 13. Even with this, he was still the Jets' top receiver in 2021 in terms of yardage. Now, the Jets were pretty banged up last season, especially in the receiving corps. And going into this next season, they are really looking for this receiving corps to be healthy and for Elijah Moore to be one of the top threats on the team. If Moore stays healthy, he will definitely be in for a breakout season, as he had a couple breakout games in his rookie year. He had 84 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 9, and then turned around in week 11 and posted 141 yards and 1 touchdown. Being consistent and producing more of these type of games are definitely key for Moore as he seeks to build upon his rookie season and have a stellar second year. And I definitely think he'll have a better season in his sophomore year. But however, if the rest of the Jets receiving corps is healthy alongside him, I personally don't see him getting over that 1,000-yard mark. So I think he'll finish with 70 receptions, 890 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Moving on to our second to last receiver on the list, it's Rashod Bateman. Bateman was drafted out of Minnesota in the first round by the Ravens with the 27th overall pick. In his first year, Bateman logged 48 receptions, 515 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, Bateman actually started the season on injury reserve and made his season debut in week 6. Having a few solid games here and there, Bateman had his breakout game in week 14 when he caught 7 passes for 103 yards in a 22-24 loss against the Browns. Now, regardless of this stellar performance, Bateman remained inconsistent for the remainder of the season. Going into his second season, the Ravens are looking for Bateman to make a bigger impact for the team, especially if he stays healthy. And with the team trading Marquise Brown, who was their only 1,000-yard receiver for last season, they are definitely banking on Bateman to step up this year. Bateman having a breakout season in his second year will really help the Ravens become a lot more versatile on offense, which will give Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews the offensive help that they desperately need. And for this next season, I do see Bateman improving upon his rookie year. But however, I don't see him having the season that the Ravens are hoping he will. So with that being said, I think he'll have 65 receptions, 810 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Now, last but not least on the list, we have Kadarius Toney. Now, Toney was picked in the first round with the 20th pick by the New York Giants. And he will go on to catch 39 passes, have 420 yards, and no touchdowns. Now, Toney had a very slow start to the season, only catching 4 passes in his first 3 games. But then had a very solid game in week 4 when he finished with 78 yards. And then the following week, Toney came up 11 yards short of a 200-yard game as he caught 10 receptions for 189 yards, which broke former receiver for the Giants Odell Beckham's receiving game record for a rookie. After this game, however, Toney continued to have an up and down season, as well as struggling with injuries in the latter stages of the season. Now, going into his second year, he is obviously looking to have a much bigger impact for the Giants, as he was their second receiver in terms of yardage in last year's campaign. Now, he could definitely sneak into that #1 receiving spot for the Giants this year. And I honestly think that the Giants are hoping that he does, with there being no clear top receiving threat for them at the moment. If Toney is healthy, he will definitely have a shot at becoming that #1 receiver for the Giants. He just has to be patient and consistent. And I might catch a lot of people off guard when I say this, but I personally think that Toney will be an 1,000-yard receiver in his second year, as I think he will finish with 1,020 yards, 85 receptions, and 10 touchdowns for the Giants. Now, I wanted to recognize a few honorable mentions. The first one includes Josh Palmer from the Chargers, who had 33 receptions, 353 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Nico Collins from the Texans, who had 33 receptions, 446 yards, and 1 touchdown. And finally, Rondale Moore, who had 54 receptions, 435 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, with me analyzing all of the receivers who are heading into their second year, the receiver who I think is going to have the best year in his sophomore season is Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, even though Chase is my pick to have the best year in 2022, and I think he might be a lot of people's picks as well, I think all of the receivers that I listed really do have the potential to make a big impact for their teams, and I think majority of them will do just that. But with that being said, that is all the time I have for today's video. Please, if you enjoyed today's video, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Let me know down in the comments which receiver do you guys think will have the best year in his sophomore season. I hope you guys have a great, happy, and safe rest of your day. It's your boy Mel. I'll see you guys next time on Mel Got Game, and I'm out. Peace.